या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीमभयदां झाड्यान्धकारापहाम् हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। Chanakya Niti. Today, let us focus on the family aspect. How we can implement suggestions by Chanakya in our family life to make it meaningful and successful household. Chanakya gives a lot of importance to family bond, rearing of children, and relation between the spouses. He says, "Sansar tapadagdhanam trayo vishranti hetavah apatyancha kalatrancha satam sangatirevacha." Sansar tapadagdhanam, those who are consumed by the sorrows of life, for them, trayo vishranti hetavah, there are three things which give relief. Those who are agonized by the adversities of the world have three places for relief. Which are they? Apatyancha, the first one, Chanakya says, apatya, that is offspring, children. A person who returns home after a long day's work and a 5-year-old son or daughter just receives, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." He forgets the entire day's toil. So apatya, that is the first thing. Second says kalatra, a spouse. Just to see a smile on the face of wife, how much a man works for the entire day. Just to be received with a smile on the face. Kalatra. Apatyancha, kalatrancha, and third thing, Chanakya says, Satam Sangapirevacha, the company of saints and devotees. These are the three things where we find solace. Otherwise, if you go to the world, it is tapadatta. And what is the tap? What is the agony of the world? People are selfish. People want to achieve their own self-interests in the world. And the worst part is, everybody is out to snatch from each other. Our interests are interconnected. People say that if you want to be successful in a corporate world, you have to be harsh enough to walk over another person. You can't be gentle all the time. It's survival of the fittest, as they say. In such a competitive world, there are only three places: Apatya, the offspring; Kalatra, the spouse; and the company of a saint or a devotee, where one finds solace. Now, first is Apatya, offspring. How to bring them up? According to the modern standards, Chanakya is a strict disciplinarian. He says, while bringing up children, you have to be strict. In the 12th verse of the second chapter, Chanakya says, Lalana bahavo doshaha tadane bahavo gunaha tasmat putran cha shishyan cha tadayet natu lalayet. And let me do the verbal translation. He says there are many evils in overindulgence, lalan, overindulgence, loving your offspring too much. There are a lot of vices in that. There are many evils in that. And tadane bahavo gunaha, he says there are many merits in being chastisement. Tadan literally meaning we have laws of abuse of children. You can't do that, you can't say that. Chanakya says, Tadane bahavo gunaha. Tasmat putran cha shishyan cha. Tasmat, therefore, putra and shishya, son and the disciple, should be tadayet, natu lalayet. They should be disciplined. They should never be overindulged. Yes, there is a saying in English, and more so, it's an American saying: spare the rod and spoil the child. Spare the rod, ROD rod, and spoil the child. So, if you never be strict with your son or children, they're definitely going to be spoiled. There is another verse, 18th verse in the 3rd chapter, where Chanakya is very specific and very categorical about bringing up the children. I have quoted this verse in many of my discourses earlier too. Chanakya says, and I think this is very important, we must all practice this. Lalayet panchavarshani, dashavarshani tadayet, prapte tu shodashe varshe, putram mitravadacharet. He says, according to the age of the child, Lalayet panchavarshani, for first 5 years, just fondle your children. Give them whatever they want. They want a particular toy? Here it is for you, as long as you can afford it. Lalayet panchavarshani, satisfy all their desires till first 5 years. Then Dashavarshani tadayet, for next 10 years, tadayet, meaning be very strict. Be disciplinarian with them. Then no nonsense tolerated. First 5 years, lalan. Next 10 years means from the age of 6 to 15, 16, tada, disciplines. And prapte tu shodashe varshe, when your child becomes 16, putram mitravada charet, the child should be treated like a friend. What happens in modern times? This whole system is disturbed. For first 5 years, a child is usually ignored. When it was the time to be overindulgent with the child, when the child needed to be fondled by the parents, at that time the child is ignored. Oh, it's too young. Let us keep the child with nanny or somebody else, neighbors. Why? We want to earn some money. We want a bigger home. We want a better car. We want to save some money for the child's education. But in the bargain, the child is ignored. When the child needs parents the most, the child is ignored for first 5 years. And then complaints start coming in. Child is stubborn, is abusive, he doesn't behave well with the friends, either in the neighborhood or at school. And when such complaints start coming in, then the parents become very sensitive about the issue. Why? For first 5 years, we have not paid attention to our child. So now the mother leaves the job or she cuts down the hours. And she is always available to the child. And now they start fondling. Why? Because as a repentance of their first 5 years, they ignore the child as a guilt complex, as a reaction to the guilt complex, they enter into overindulgence with the child. After that was actually the time to discipline. Now in these 10 years, from 6 to 16, the child is, whatever you want, yeah. Actually, when the father enters the home, the child should be worried. Careful, not worried, but careful that father is coming home. When we were young, if sometimes we have not completed our homework, our mother would just say, I'll tell your father. It's 7 p.m. Your father should be coming at any moment. And I'm, Mom, you're going to complain to the father? Please don't. I'm completing my homework. We were so careful. Father should not know about our misbehaviors or anything. It was actually a father figure, a disciplinarian. And now what happens? The father is careful before entering the home. I should not say anything which disturbs the child. Otherwise, he will have a complex against me and poor parents. Scared of children. So this 10 years where we have to be disciplinarian, we are fondling our children. And ultimately at the age of 16, our paka ghada thai gaya. And then when you hear stories about them, then you try to be strict with them. Actually, when you have to be friendly with them after 16, at that time, I have done enough for you. Now I cannot tolerate. You must behave well. Now you are trying to discipline the child, which is too late. The shape has already taken. So, we are actually messing with children's life. And I am saying this because I am addressing most of the parents here. If I am talking to youth, I talk in a different language. I take your side there, so don't worry. But according to Chanakya, this is how we should treat our children. Lalayet panchavarshani, dashavarshani tadayet, prapte tu shodashe varshe, putram mitravada charet. Who is an ideal wife? Chanakya says. Not that everyone need to be so lucky, but it's good to know. It's good to know. Sa bharya ya shuchir daksha सा भार्या या पतिव्रता, सा भार्या या पतिप्रीता, सा भार्या satyavadini. At least we can learn and try to implement to make husband feel good about the married life. Sa bharya ya shuchir daksha. She is a true wife who's first of all, and jokes apart, but Chanakya is very practical about it. He says, first of all, shuchi. She should be clean. Shuchi is clean, hygienically and clean. When a husband returns home, the wife, juna jamanama, and like 30 years back, 20 years back, when a mother would guide or advise her daughter before marriage that look, you are going to your in-laws, how to take care of your husband. When your husband returns home from work, at least half an hour before that, you should have a bath or at least wash your hands and feet, change your clothes, comb your hair, do a little bit of touch-up. Be presentable. And when your husband returns home, make sure that you open the door and with a smile on your face, welcome him. Avi kya? See, this suggests you are long for it. You all are longing for it. Such advice from the mother may be followed for about a week or 10 days. But then, forget about India when now we are in North America. We also work. We also put in hard work. We also slog long hours. First thing Chanakya says, Sa bharya ya shuchi, presentable, clean. I don't intend to go into the details. Sometimes when you see when husband returns home, if guests are coming, she will be in the best of her attire and best. But for husband, forget it. She always makes sure that she is wearing a gown which is not washed since last 3 weeks, which is stinking. I'm not talking about you. Come on. There are exceptions. Here we have some very sensitive people who say that's not true. I'm going to install surveillance cameras in each one of your homes and to create a team of volunteers who are going to watch you and give me the report. Have you seen that hair when the husband comes home? I mean, the wife's hair. दातड़ बेचवा आपके आगे हाथ में हो जा. કેવા સમયમાં આપણે જીવીએ છીએ, બોલો એનું નામ ન લેવાય હવે. એવું બોલાય પણ નહીં, આમ દાતણ વેચવા વાળા એમ જ કહેવાય. So first thing is ya bharya, sa bharya, ya shuchi, clean, daksha. But if there was a napkin in the bag, where have you put the bag? Sa bharya ya shuchi, clean, first. Second, daksha. Daksha is clever. Daksha is expert. She should be sharp. She should be clever. She should actually know the husband's desire even before he speaks. That's cleverness. What will he need now? What is the need of the hour? What will my family need? What will my children need? What will the elders in the family need? That clever, that dexterity. Daksh. Sometimes, even if you say this thing for 5 times, it just doesn't happen. So, that kind. Sa bharya ya shuchir daksha, sa bharya ya pativrata. She should be chaste, pativrata, follows her husband, always tries to please her husband, and that is the next verse actually. Sa bharya ya patiprita. Patiprita can be interpreted in 2 ways. A, she loves her husband, and B, she always tries to please her husband in such a way that husband would, like to go all over her. She earns her respect and love in the family. That is called patiprita. And sa bharya satyavadini. Chanakya says, truthful. I don't want to go into the detail, but in other verses, Chanakya says that if you want to learn how to hide the truth and how to spread the falsehood, Chanakya said you should learn it from ladies. You must have had some experiences. Probably. And if you want to feel good, you can say this is the ladies of 2300 years ago, not modern ladies. But when Chanakya says this, that falsehood should be learned from ladies. So here he expects that sa bharya, the wife, should be satyavadini, truthful. In the 16th verse of the 4th chapter, Chanakya says, Tyajet dharmam dayahinam, vidyahinam gurum tyajet, tyajet krodhamukhim bharya, nisnehan bandhavams tyajet. One thing I may tell you, that here Chanakya being a man, is talking about bharya, wife. But obviously, for a happy married life, the same things are expected of a husband. So from a wife's perspective, she should, whenever I say wife, it is a spouse. So for husband, the same things apply. In the 16th verse of the 4th chapter, Chanakya says, Tyajet dharmam dayahinam. A religion which is without mercy towards others, or which is without pity towards others, should be rejected. It doesn't befit the title. A religion which does not preach mercy, it doesn't instill these values of pity towards others, should be rejected. According to Chanakya, mercy is the first and the topmost characteristic of being a religious person. Tyajet dharmam dayahinam, vidyahinam gurum tyajet. Reject a guru who does not have spiritual wisdom. Look at our society. There are so many self-appointed gurus. What does he do? He does nothing. He just sits. He is observing silence since last 20 years. He doesn't utter a word. And how does he kill his time? He just smokes. And there are some people, he is a guru. Why? Because he is not wearing any clothes. He is a guru. Why? Because he has not shaved his head since last maybe 30 years. Such things cannot be the qualification of a guru. Vidyahinam gurum tyajet. The first and the foremost qualification a guru must have is vidya, spiritual wisdom. And that should be ever expanding. Every time you hear him, you should get something new from him. A guru cannot afford to be stagnant. He has to grow in order to instill growth in his disciples. Tyajet krodhamukhim bharya. Chanakya says, if a wife is always with an angry face, reject her. And so same thing applies for reject them. Nisnehan bandhavams tyajet. And relatives without affection should be rejected. This is so important, my dear brothers and sisters. Most often in our life, we are unsatisfied with our relatives, with our relations. We know that they are no good. We know that they are not even our well-wishers. Forget doing good things for us. They don't even wish well for us. And still we carry on that burden. It takes such a huge toll on our peace of mind and overall happiness. Chanakya is a very practical approach. He says, once you are sure that this relative has no emotion for you, he has no affection for you, just reject. Move on with life. You can't compromise your quality of life all the time for others. And if publicly you can't reject, fine. You don't create enemies. Chanakya will be the last person to advise you to create enemies. At least mentally, you put a cut that this person is not mine. Though he is mine, he is not really mine. Mentally be free from that. Don't carry that burden of dead relations or meaningless relations. You will improve your efficiency and probably you will inject new life in some other relations. Who is the enemy in a family? Look at this very practical approach of Chanakya. He says in the 11th verse of the 6th chapter, Runakarta pita shatruhu, mata cha vyabhicharini, Bharya Rupavati Shatruhu Putra Shatrus Apandita. Runakarta Pita Shatru. A father who is a chronic debtor is an enemy for the family. Father is usually head of the family. It is his duty to create wealth for the family. Instead, if this person is creating debt, Runakarta, it's such a big burden for the family. Runakarta pita shatru. Mata cha vyabhicharini. If the mother is adulterous, she is an enemy of the family. Because obviously, her thoughts will always be towards the other person and not towards her family. She will constantly feel that the family is a burden to her. She is an enemy. Mata cha vyabhicharini. Bharya Rupavati Shatru. Chanakya says a beautiful wife is like an enemy. He has a point. You will say, why? You should be proud of your beautiful wife, right? What happens? When a lady is beautiful, she is eyed by everyone around. And you constantly have to protect her. And sometimes it happens in the society that a beautiful lady, when she is constantly praised by these outsiders, she expects the same behavior from her husband. And she can't expect any criticism or any suggestion. Because out of the home, she's always appreciated. But she may not be right all the time. Then the conflict begins. Simply because she's beautiful, first you have to always protect her. B, she has a typical psychology, a mindset that you enter into conflict with her all the time. So, and of course the time that Chanakya was in, Rupavati Bharya, you are always vulnerable to external attacks. Because whenever a foreign invader came, they used to eye beautiful women. And obviously, the man with a beautiful wife was always at risk. Because these enemies would always kill the husband first in order to take the wife away. So, Bharya Rupavati Shatruhu. And finally, Chanakya says, Putra Shatru Apandita. Apandita, unlearned son, is like an enemy, or an unintelligent son. The son who's not educated, obviously the parents are constantly worried, and everyone in the family, not just the parents, they're constantly worried about the son's career. Is settling down. It's constantly a source of agony and hence an enemy. So, these are the four enemies in one's own home. Runakarta Pita Shatruhu, Mata Chavya Vicharini, Bharya Rupavati Shatruhu, Putra Shatru Apanditaha. In the third verse of the 8th chapter, Chanakya gives us a very beautiful insight in what we eat. And he explains this to us with an example. He says, Deepo bhakshayate dhvantam kajjalam cha prasuyate yadannam bhakshyate nityam jayate tadrushi praja. Deepa, a lamp. Bhakshayate dhvantam. A lamp eats darkness. And what does it give birth to? What does it create? Kajjalam, the soot. The lamp black. Since the lamp eats the darkness, it creates kajjalam, soot, the lamp soot. The lamp black. Yadannam bhakshyate nityam, whatever you eat daily, jayate tadrushi praja, such will be the progeny. So if your food is sattvic, the offspring will be sattvic. If the food is rajasi, the offspring will be rajasi. And if the food is tamasi, such will be the offspring. And what is the sattvic food and rajasi food and tamasi food? You all remember. We did just last year, 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In that Sri Krishna explained sattvic, rajasi and tamasi food. Tadrishi praja. In the old age, Chanakya says this, look at it. In the 9th verse of the 8th chapter, what could be the most difficult situation for an old man? It's particularly about the man, old man. Vruddhakale mruta bharya bandhu hastagatam dhanam bhojanancha paradhinam tisra punsam vidambana. These three are the greatest misfortune for an old man. First, vruddhakale mruta bharya, passing away of wife in an old age. તમે જોજો જુવાનીમાં ઘણો ઝઘડ્યા હોય ને ઘણો એકદમ કર્યું હોય પણ પછી after 60-65 they become closer because they know that now they are for each other. And at that age, if a man loses, There are sociological surveys done, and I have those statistics with me. It is relatively easier for a lady to survive in an old age without husband, but it is very difficult for a man to survive without his wife. And hence, I have even heard in India, I have even heard some old ladies who are actually concerned about their husband. If you listen to their words, they may sound very abrupt. They will say that till I am, I'll be able to serve him, but if I'm not there, who will take care of him? So on one side, on one hand, it is our typical Indian dream of a lady to go Saubhagyavati. But the concerned women, they feel that I will somehow manage without him, but I know for sure that he won't be. So dear God, at least give me the life that I can serve him till he is there. Vruddha kale mruta bharya. This is the first misfortune of a man. Second, bandhu hastagatam dhanam. Control of wealth in the hands of relatives. He has earned money, but now, though he is called the head of the family simply because of his age, but entire control of wealth is done by others. That is second misfortune. And third is Bhojanancha paradhinam. Even for food, he is dependent on others. Someone will come, prepare for me, and give me. And the last stages are someone will come and feed me because he can't even eat on his own. So he needs someone to feed, literally, spoon feed. It's such a misfortune for a man. Bhojanancha paradhinam. These three are, Chanakya says. Why we are studying this? We have to make sure that if such a person is there in the family, it is our duty to serve them in such a way that they don't feel it as misfortune of them. On the lighter side, on a brighter side, Chanakya says, Dhanyo Grahasthashrama, which is the success, or just more than a success, Dhanya, which is the blessed household. Chanakya lists 10 things, and this is going to apply to each one of us sitting here. Dhanyo Grahasthashrama. Sanandam sadanam sutascha sudhiyaha kanta priyalapini Ichha purti dhanam swayoshitiratis swagnya parah sevakaha Adithyam shivapujanam pratidinam mishtannapanam gruhe Sadho sangamupasate hi saratam dhanyo grahasthashrama. Even this verse I have quoted in so many discourses of mine. 10 things. And each one of you are having paper and pen. List. It will tell you, when you reflect upon it, it will tell you how happy you are in life. Your quotient of happiness will come from this. The first and the foremost thing Chanakya says, Sanandam Sadanam. Blissful atmosphere in home. Pleasurable, enjoyable atmosphere in home. People are laughing, enjoying, smiling. This is the first thing which will prove that you have a blessed home. Your household is blessed. And the most important proof of this is, after work, everyone wants to get home as soon as possible. all the members of the family, they sought to be home. This is the proof of Sanandam Sadanam. Ask yourself, do you have such a home? Pleasant atmosphere. Usually, people want to stay away from home. The later we go home, the better it is. So after work, he goes to the gym. It's immaterial whether he exercises or not. But he wants to go to the gym. He'll just sit there, relax, have carrot juice. Because exercising is a different story altogether. Then he will go to the club, he will visit a friend's home, and maybe at 10:30 or 11 in the night, after half of the family members are fast asleep, he will enter home. So less problems to face. Only one problem in the room. Sanandam Sadanam. Everyone should, Actually, people should feel that I want to finish my work an hour early today and go home. Combined responsibility. Each member of the family has to make sure that atmosphere of the house should not be disturbed because of me. If I have to suffer a little bit, I will. If I have to let go a little bit, I will do that. But I will make sure that there is a pleasant atmosphere in the family. Sanandam Sadanam. Next. Sutashcha Sudhiyaha. Second quality, Chanakya Niti. Talented children. Very important. Children should be talented. They should be smart. Otherwise, parents feel, what will they do in life? How will they come up? How will they face the realities of the society in this competitive world? They should be smart, talented. And if the children are talented, they are very well educated, they are good at their education, they finish their education, they are well set in their career, and parents feel good about it. Sanandam Sadanam Sudashcha Sudhiyaha. Third, Kanta Priyalapini. Wife speaking sweetly. Actually, so look at the word Priyalapini. Priya Alapini. Alapini. There should be some music when she speaks. So this is what I say, if you learn Sanskrit, you will know the nuances of the language. Otherwise, if you read this, Google out and sweet speaking wife. No, Priya Lapini. There should be musical tone in her. And we had such things. It's not impossible. Sambhalo cho. So this is called Alapini. Priyalap. Listen to me. This is not a Priyalap. So Kanta Priyalapi. My dear sisters, when you get home today, practice some alap. Have a musical tone when you address your significant other. Ani Kanta Priyalapi. And then you have freedom to change the name then. Kanta Priyalapi. There should be sweetness in the. What happens here? People say, they're so bitter. To say, whenever I say truth, people don't like it. It's not necessary that when you say truth, it should be not liked by people. Even truth can be welcoming. Even truth can be sweet. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, ma bruyat satyam apriyam. Verses scripture say. Even truth can be sweet. You did not sound bitter all the time. There was a beautiful thing I had heard. We clean our tongue every morning with a tongue cleaner. And we prefer it of a metal, brass or copper or silver. Somebody said, when we clean the tongue, what we do is we actually sharpen our tongue every morning so that it's ready to cut throughout the day. Kanta Priyalapini. And obviously, Chanakya was a man, so he expected Kanta Priyalapini. For a lady, it should be husband who's Priyalapakaha. Pati Priyalapakaha. I am saying this with correct Sanskrit. Basically, the spouse should be talking sweetly to each other. And when can this happen? This can happen only when they both respect each other. Sweetness in speech comes automatically when you respect a person. When you come and talk to, see, usually when people talk to me, they talk with respect. They are very sweet talkers. Why? Because they respect me, at least on the face. So they are sweet talkers. When you have respect towards them, please don't take each other for granted. As you grow in love, your respect also should grow and evolve. And then automatically the speech will be sweet. Kanta Priyala. There were some set rules in our Indian society. There was a set rule that the wife will always address the husband with respect. Tame. To tu ta kari rakhiyo. And obviously the husband will also address the wife as Devi. Devi, yeah. Do we have any Nagar sitting here? Nagar Brahmin or Nagar Vadik or Nagar community member? Do we have?
Yes.
Nobody? Kyun sharmao cho? Check your name. Nagar એટલે you should see Nagar husband, typical Nagar and husband wife talking. I have heard a Nagar husband and wife, and quite elderly that too, when I was very young, at the age of probably 15, 16. And then at that time, these were probably they are with the God now, but they were 70s, in their 70s at that time, and I have heard them fighting. And I was so impressed. Husband and wife जो झगड़ो करें तो हम कराएं. Even when they fight, they do it with respect. તમે મને આમ ન કહો પછી મને ખોટું લાગે છે. ના પણ તમે આવું કરો તો પછી મારે કરવું શું? પછી મારે હસબન્ડ ટુ ધ વાઇફ એ પણ તમે કે તમે આમ કરો પછી મારે તમને આમ કહેવું તો પડે જ ને, પણ પછી ન કહીએ તો કેમ ચાલે? પછી તો એકબીજા માટે જે શબ્દો પણ વાપરે ને તો એટલા સરસ વાપરે, એટલા સરસ વાપરે શબ્દો. તમે તો સાવ ગરદન જેવી વાત કરો છો. એ ગધેડો નો કે ગરદબ કે નાગર. એટલે પછી પેલો પણ કે તું સાવ માલજાલ જેવું ન કર, બિલાડી નો કે. મારજાર. નાગર એટલે નાગર. I have very high respect for Nagars. એના ઘરે તમે એમ કહો ને, આજે ગુરુજી આજે સાંજના ભોજનમાં રસમંજરી બનાવશો. આપણને એટલી બધી અપેક્ષાઓ વધી જાય ને, રસમંજરી તો શું હશે, જમવા બેહો ત્યારે ખબર પડે ખીચડી છે. રસમંજરી પૂછાય તો નહીં આપણાથી વખતે શું હશે. ના ના સરસ છે, બરાબર આમ લાગે સારું સાંભળો. વાણીની મીઠાશ તો નાગરો પાસે. વાહ. કાંતા પ્રિયાલા ઈચ્છા પૂર્તિ ધનમ. One must have wealth. How much? Enough to satisfy his own desires. Ichha purti dhanam. This is the sign of a blessed household. Our seers, our thinkers have never criticized wealth. And I always say in my discourses, please don't criticize wealth or wealthy person. It shows your deprivation. Because on one hand we respect Lakshmi ji as the goddess of wealth, the mother. On the other side we criticize wealth. According to Indian scriptures, wealth is a reward and not a punishment. Wealth is a reward of good karma. Criticizing wealthy people is a Western idea. It is not a Vedic Sanatana idea. It is not an Indian idea. Always respect wealthy people because they are the wealth creators. They are working hard. They are using their brains. And they are blessed children of the God. પોતાને ન મળે એટલે અરે એને તો કઈ કરે, તું કરને તું લે. Never criticize wealthy people. Have a very positive and a respectful attitude towards them. Ichha purti dhanam. One should be. There is nothing wrong in earning wealth with good means. Swayoshiti rati. Fifth thing that Chanakya says of a blessed house: emotional attachment between the spouses. They should grow in love with time. Usually, that law of economics, law of diminishing returns applies in all the relations. They love each other so much on the first day of the wedding. And then slowly it fizzles out. No, you should grow in love. Pratikshara vardhamanam should evolve in love. Swayoshiti. When you knew each other barely for 6 months at the time of wedding and you loved so much, now you are together for 30 years, your love should have grown so much. Swayoshiti. Because now you understand each other for so well, and you have accepted each other. Swayoshiti rati. Agnya paras sevakaha. Chanakya says, obedient servants. This is very important. આ તમારા માટે નથી. તમારા માટે ના servant, તમે servant. But those who have, obviously, in your work, in your office, when you have servants, when you have subordinates, people to work for you, people to help you, they should understand your mind and they should carry out your instructions efficiently. It's such a big peace of mind when you have such a trustworthy person. And we are pretty sure that I have assigned this duty to Mr. So and so, and he'll going to do it. I will, within 3 days or 4 days, I will get the report. Sir, it is done. Boss, it is done. It's good peace of mind. Every half an hour, you have to go and supervise him. Have you done it? Have you done it? And he keeps arguing with you. I can't do it. I have so much work already. So Ajnapara Sevaka. Chanakya says, Atithyam Shivapujanam Pratidinam Mishtannapanam Gruhe. Actually, this Pratidinam can be applied to each and every, all the 10 things, but at least in this stanza, we can apply to these 3. Atithyam Pratidinam. A blessed household is the one who has visitors and guests every day. Is it okay? People may ask, every day? Yes. Atithyam Pratidin. Guests are the beauty of the home. They make your home lively. They are instrumental in bringing a quick patch-up if there are any conflicts in the family. Because in front of the guest you can't fight. You have to talk to each other nicely. And well, that time has passed then. So Atithyam Pratidinam. Shiva Pujanam Pratidinam. Worshipping the Supreme Lord every day. It's our culture. We don't worship God once in a week. We worship God every day. Because worshipping is an inner support system for us. It is something we do it daily at home. Shiva Pujanam Pratidinam. Mishtannapanam Pratidinam. Delicious food and drink. Drink means permissible drinks. Every day. Mishtannapanam Pratidinam. Food should be tasty. Food should be wholesome. Food should be healthy. As I said earlier, a person should be looking forward to rushing home every evening. Similarly, he should be looking forward to the meal at home every evening. Because people at home are so expert in preparing delicacies. And it's such a variety. Otherwise, at some families, every evening you go home and the same Ras Manjari every evening. અને એમાં કોઈક દી ચોખા ન ગળ્યા હોય તો કોઈક દિવસ દાળ કાચી રહી ગઈ હોય, કોઈક દિવસ આવ ચોંટી ગયું હોય, કોઈક દિવસ બળી ગયું હોય, કોઈક દિવસ આવ ઢીલું આમ રાબડી જેમ પીવાય અને કોઈક દિવસ દાણે દાણે છૂટું. એમાં પાછી કન્સિસ્ટન્સી નહીં. રસમંજરીમાં કન્સિસ્ટન્સી હોય. And every day you hear some new excuse. આજે ખીચડી મૂકી હતી ને ઇસ્ત્રી કરવા બેઠા, કાં તો કપડું બળદ કાં તો ખીચડી બળી. I selected ખીચડી બળવા દો, કપડું હાચવી લીધું. Delicacies every evening. Mishtannapanam. There's a very famous quote in English. The way to man's heart is through his stomach. If you want to win a man, win his stomach first. Mishtannapanam Gruhe. And 10th, last but definitely not the least, Chanakya says, Sadho Sangamupasate Sapatam. Company of saints and scholars. Dear brothers and sisters, life is a journey in dark. One wrong decision and we don't know, we may end up losing 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And then we repent. Oh my God, I wish I had some good advice at that time. This is the importance of a saint and a scholar in life. Sadho sangam upasape satatam dhanyo grahasthashrama, Chanakya says. So this was about a blessed home, a blessed household. Chanakya also shows extreme opposite. There are some families which are like crematoria, smashan jeva karche, which are they? Navi prapado daka kardamani, naveda shastra dhvani garjitani, swaha swadhaka ravivarjitani, smashana tulyani gruhani tani. 10th verse in the 12th chapter of Chanakya Niti. Naviprapadodaka kardamani, the houses in which the lotus feet of Brahmins are not washed. Kardama literally means mud. A Brahman who comes from a long distance, obviously he comes walking, so there is a sand on his feet, and when his feet is washed, that sand goes away. Navi prapadodaka kardamani. In the front yard of the home, viprapadodaka kardam is not found. The mud of washing the feet of a Brahmin is not found. Meaning, the family in which scholarly Brahmins are not welcome, or such Brahmins do not visit those families. Naveda Shastra Dhvani Garjitani. Veda Shastra Dhvani. The homes in which Vedic mantras are not recited loudly, Garjitani. If Vedic hymns are chanted in the home, it changes the atmosphere of your family. Vishwani deva savitar doritani parasuva janabhadarantan naasuva. And such mantras are chanted. It changes the atmosphere. It sets very holy vibrations in the home. But never such vibrations, never such hymns are heard or chanted in the family. And third is Swaha Swadhaka Vivarjitani. Swahaka, meaning yajnas are not performed in the home. And remember these two things, they are very symbolic words that Chanakya uses. Swaha Swadhaka. Swaha is offering to the deities, to the Supreme Lord. That is called Swaha, when you give something to gods. Om Indraya Swaha. Om Somaya Swaha. Om Ganapataye Swaha. Om Narayanaya Swaha. When something is offered to God, it is called Swaha. And Swadha is when something is offered to the ancestors. So Chanakya is considering both the deities and the ancestors. The family in which the ancestors are never remembered, or they are never given their offerings. Smashana tulyani gruhani tani. Chanakya says, such homes are like crematoria. They are like smashans. They are like graveyards. And ultimately, spiritually speaking, before that, let me take this verse. Chanakya says, Svabhavena hitushyanti deva satpurusha pita. Gnataya snanapanabhyam vakyadanena panditaha. How to satisfy your near and dear ones. Chanakya says, Svabhavena hi tushyanti deva satpurusha pita. Deva, deities, satpurusha, people with high virtues, and pita, father, in general, parents. They will be satisfied only with your swabhava, only with your nature. If you are good nature, they will be happy. Gnataya snanapanabhyam. Your relations will be happy with snanapanabhyam. When you welcome them home, offer them good bath, good food, good drinks, only then they will be happy. They will be satisfied. And Vakyadanena Panditaha, scholars, saints, how can they be happy? How can they be satisfied? Vakyadanena. Now this word Vakyadanena can be interpreted in two ways. A, by respectful words in front of them. That's one thing. But more important than to me, more important than that is by attentively listening to their words and vakyas. How can you satisfy a saint? They have some powerful message for the society. Vakyadanena, they want to give something to the society. And what do we have to give you? By the grace of God and your own efforts, you all are materially happy. You have everything that you can earn in this life. What can we offer you? We can give you only one thing, Vakyadana. Nice thoughts, inspirational thoughts, positive ideas, golden advices. And when saints are listened to attentively, that satisfies them. I spoke for 2 hours and people were very attentive. They listened to me very carefully and they have promised me they are going to put it into practice also. That's the biggest satisfaction for us. Vakyadane Pandita. And finally, a spiritual family. Which is a spiritual family? Satyam Mata Pita Jnanam Dharmo Bhrata Daya Sakha Shanti Patni Kshama Putra Shadete Mama Bandhava. It is said that once Chanakya was asked, who's in your family? Chanakya was alone. He was an extremely intelligent person. He was with very high ambitions for the country. And he always remained single for the entire. He never married. See, he was extremely intelligent. Once he was asked, don't you feel lonely? What's your family? And Chanakya answered, Satyam Mata, truth is my mother. I am born out of truth. My creativity, my strength is because of my truthfulness. Rutam vadishyami, satyam vadishyami. I would rather keep silent, but if I speak, I will speak truth. I will never utter a wrong thing, or I will never say a person which is not good for that person. I may observe silence sometimes when I know that my words are not going to be appreciated, or when I know that I may not be understood in a right perspective. At such moments I will keep silence. But whenever I speak, rest assured, I will speak the truth. Satyam Mata, Pita Jnanam, wisdom is my father. Spiritual wisdom. It is this spiritual wisdom which has reared me, which has protected me, which is leading me in the path of life. Pita, who's the guiding light for the life. Dharmo Bhrata, righteousness is my brother. They say brothers are your strength. So my strength is my righteousness. I'm always in the company of right people. Daya Sakha. My friend is pity, mercy. Why do we need a friend for? To feel lighter, so that you throw away all your burdens and tensions. So whenever I do charity, whenever I do merciful activity, whenever I help others, that's when I feel lighter. Daya Sakha. Shanti Patni. My wife, peace is my wife. Such a relevant word. Shanti Patni. Whenever I'm at peace, I feel I'm with my wife. Shanti Patni. Kshama Putra. Forgiveness is my son. And Shadete Mama Bandh. These 6 are my relatives. So this was about the family values of Chanakya. There are 2 verses in which Chanakya gives us a very practical advice, which is so important for all of us these days. He says there are certain things which you should keep to yourself. And there are 2 verses of this effect. First verse of the 7th chapter. I have always kept this in mind and quite with an alertness I try to practice this, which I want to share with you today. Arthanasham manastapam gruhe dushcharitani cha vanchanam chapamanam cha matiman na prakashayet. A wise person should not reveal these 5 things. First, arthanasham, loss of wealth. If you have suffered loss somewhere, don't reveal, don't tell others about it. Don't bring it into light. Yes, you definitely have some close friends, you definitely have some trustworthy people whom you are very sure of that they are going to be helping you in the adverse situation. With them, you share your heart, no doubt about it. But don't, Chanakya uses the word prakashaya, don't reveal it to everybody, don't make it public. There are some people, if they have suffered loss, they will go and tell everybody, I lost so much in the last recession of stock market. Or in that business, I lost so much. Don't tell people about it. You are actually expressing your foolishness. Arthanasha. Mutti bandra karo. Barring a few trustworthy people, don't tell. Arthanasha, loss of it. Manastapam, more important. Agony of mind. Don't share your worries with everyone. Keep a very selected few people whom with you share your heart and mind. Most people in the society, they have nothing else to talk. They just talk about their worries. Oh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. What will happen to my son? What will happen to my daughter? What will happen to my daughter's mother-in-law? Why are you jabbering this with everyone? Don't. Manas, don't. બહુ સરસ કવિતા છે. મોસ્ટ ઓફ યુ આર ગુજરાતી એટલે કહું છું તમને. ભણવામાં આવતી હતી, તમને યાદ હશે. બોલીએ ના કઈ, આપણું હૃદય ખોલીએ ના કઈ, વેણને રહેવું ચૂપ. નેણ ભરીને જોઈ લે વીરા, ઉરના પાણી ઉલેચનારું સાગર છે વા કૂપ. તમે ગુજરાતી શીખવતા હતા ને? કોણ છે કવિ? યાદ છે? નથી યાદ રહ્યા તમને? બોલીએ ના કઈ, આપણું હૃદય ખોલીએ ના કઈ. Don't open your heart in front of everybody. વેણને રહેવું ચૂપ. નેણ ભરીને જોઈ લે વીરા. Before you open your mouths, just make sure ઉરના પાણી ઉલેચનારું સાગર છે વા કૂપ. તમારા હૃદયનું પાણી, your emotions તમે જેની આગળ પ્રગટ કરો છો, એ દરિયો છે કે કૂવો છે? If he's an ocean, go express it in front of him. He will keep all your secrets to himself. He will understand you correctly. કૂવો હશે તો if he's a well, છલકાઈ જશે. બે ઘડા એટલે તો ઉપર બહાર જવા માટે. તમારી વાત સાંભળીને તમે તમારે ક્યારે બીજા જઈને કહેશો, સાંભળ્યું પેલા તો આવું છે. What is the fun in sharing things with such people? Keep your dignified silence. Let them talk about you. You should keep your dignified silence, and they will respect you for that. તાકાત ન થાય તમારી આગળ આમ બોલી શકે. Don't open your mouth in front of everybody. Arthanasham, manastapam, gruhe dushcharitani cha. Misconduct of a family member. Don't go and tell everybody about it. I have heard people, society માં ડમ કરે. મારા દીકરાને આમ થયું, મારો દીકરો આમ થઈ ગયો, મારી છોકરી આમ. બધા શું કામ કહો છો? Don't. Gruhe dushcharitani cha. Vanchanam. If you are cheated by someone, don't bring it to light. Otherwise, you are giving idea to others that you can be cheated in this way. Vanchanam cha apamanam cha. Don't reveal if somebody has insulted you or if somebody has disgraced you, don't reveal to others. Some people keep like, we went there and they didn't even offer water to us. We were insulted so badly. If you are not respected there, why should I respect you? Never publish it. Keep it to yourself. Arthanasham manastapam gruhe dushcharitani cha vancharam chapamanam cha matiman na prakashayet. And in the 17th verse of the 14th chapter of Chanakya Niti, he says, Susiddham aushadham dharmam gruhachidram chavaithunam kubhuktam kushrutam chaiva matiman na prakashayet. Susiddham aushadham. You should not divulge the formula of the medicine that always works for you or that always cures your problem. Never divulge it. Don't make it public. Now you may feel, if it's such a good medicine, isn't it good to share with others? Yeah, share them. If you find someone suffering, give that medicine to the person. I don't mind it. But don't say that this medicine works for me all the time and this is like alma mater or alma mater for me. Don't say. Remember, Chanakya is a kingmaker. Chanakya was living with people where enemies were all around. And for a king, for a boss, he must have some secrets, and among them is his sure-shot medicine. Say for a king, he declares that this is the medicine which works for me all, and I cannot survive without this medicine. It's very easy for the enemies. Remove that medicine from his luggage. Very easy for the enemies. So king should never discuss which is the sure-shot treatments for. Susiddham aushadham. Secondly, he says dharmam, your righteousness, your dharma. Good things that you have done, don't publish it, keep it to yourself. And the same opinion is expressed by the acharyas in devotional paths. Don't reveal your devotion. Don't reveal your bhakti. સેવા કરવામાં તમને જે આનંદ આવતો બધાને ડીમ 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 ન કહેવાય. Keep it to yourself. Because others will not understand. Others will say, crazy. You should share it with only the people who understand you, who operate at the same wavelength as yours, who probably derive the same joy is a very shallow word, the same ecstasy in devotion. Only then they will understand you. So, Susiddham aushadham dharmam gruhat chhidran. Domestic conflicts, don't reveal them. Cha maithunam. Maithun, private affairs with the spouse. Never reveal them. એવા ક્રેઝી હોતા હશે બધા જેમ કહી આવે આમ થયું તું મૈથુનમ private affairs with the spouse. Kubhukta, poorly prepared food which you are offered. If you have eaten something bad, don't reveal to everybody. And kushrutam, very important. If you have heard something bad, if you have heard something negative about others, if you have heard some gossip or some criticism of yourself or others, don't tell others. There are some people who listen to their own backbiting. I mean, people have done some criticism for them and they will tell, people are talking like this about me. Tu hukam bole, tu chup rahe. જેને ખબર નથી એને ખબર પાડે છે. અમે કેવા હારા પણ જોન બધા અમારી આવી આવી વાતો કરે એટલે બોલ માઈક આપો બોલ જીવતા. Kushrutam, why are you bringing into light? If people are talking like them, you should not talk about it. And so about yourself and similarly about others, because what applies to you, that applies, the same applies to others also. If you have heard some negative comment or criticism or gossip about others, don't forward it. In modern times, there are some people, they receive some message in WhatsApp and forward it. Forward it. Chanakya. Why unnecessary? Keep it to yourself. Delete it. Throw it out of the system. Matiman na prakashayet. This is a sign of an intelligent person. He does not bring. There are so many verses. One last verse I will say. Actually, it is more to do than to learn, but it's good to know about this. Chanakya says, Padabhyam naspushed agnim gurum brahmanam evacha naiva gam na kumarim cha na vruddham na shishum tatha. Chanakya says, do not let your foot touch these people, these things. So you should never touch with your foot First, Agni, fire. मूर्खों क्या है अग्नि मेरे को पग नाखे तो क्यों? Never touch with your foot. Fire, Agni. Second, Guru. You should make sure that even by mistake, your foot should not touch a learned scholar, Brahmin. Guru, and specifically say Brahmana mevacha. Never to a Brahmin person. Never touch it with foot. Naiva, never, he repeats, Naiva gam, to a cow. Never touch a cow with foot. Na Kumari, a young girl, a virgin, Kumari literally means. Never touch a young girl with foot. Na Vruddham, never an elderly person. And na Shishum Tatha, not a child. Never touch them with foot. Sometimes if a child, an infant on the floor, and while playing we just touch the child with foot. Never do that. Chanakya says no. Not many verses, but I think it's 10:05. So we need to stop somewhere. Chanakya is endless. His advices are endless. It's not important how many advices we hear. The more important thing is how many of them do we put into practice and we enrich our life. Chanakya says that whoever puts this thing into practice, ajayasya bhavishyati, he will become a victorious. He will never be defeated by others. You will always come out victorious. And precisely, that's what I pray for you. May you all come out victorious in all your endeavors in life. May God bless you.